Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cloud Native Live, where we dive into the code behind Cloud Native. I'm Annie, and I'm a CNCF ambassador as well as a senior product marketing manager at Camunda, and I will be your host tonight. So, every week we bring a new set of presenters to showcase how to work with cloud native technologies. They will build things, they will break things, and they will answer all of your questions. So, join us every Wednesday to watch live. And this week we have amazing two speakers here with us to talk about using Litmus Chaos Engine and microservices demo app to demonstrate automated RCA. And as always, this is an official live stream of CNCF, and as such, it is subject to the CNCF Code of Conduct. So please do not add anything to the chat or question that would be in violation of that Code of Conduct. Basically, please be respectful of all of your fellow participants as well as presenters. So I'll hand it over to Gavin and Brandon to kick off today's presentation.
Hey, everybody. My name is Seamus, and I'm joined today by Braden, and we're both DevOps engineers for Zebrium. So we're going to talk today a little bit about Litmus, which is a cloud-native open-source chaos engineering framework, and we want to talk a little bit about what that means and what we're doing with it. So what we're doing with it is actually a little bit unique. So at Zebrium, we've built a product that analyzes logs to find the root causes of issues. So being able to cause issues on demand is just absolutely invaluable for us. So when we're validating and demonstrating our product, we need to be able to create problems within our Kubernetes demonstration clusters. We generally don't have access to prospective customer environments, so it's important for us to be able to do this ourselves on demand. And Litmus provides on-demand chaos by simulating issues that can occur in environments such as just bad configurations, heavy infrastructure loads, rainy days, just any stability threatening issue you can think of. Really, the only limit is imagination for it. So, quick 1,000-foot view, what exactly is chaos and what is chaos engineering in this context? So there's many different testing methodologies available in the world right now. The thing that they all have in common is that they all have blind spots. And the problem is the blind spots can overlap, and then you can have really bad, unpredictable behavior sometimes. And if the first time you find out about a resiliency issue is when a customer reports it at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's an ops fail. That's bad. We don't want that to happen. And chaos engineering allows you to create these doomsday scenarios in a more controlled environment in a way to test resilience before bad things occur in the wild. Litmus is by far the best cloud native framework for inducing chaos that we've found. We've done some extensive searching and we've actually developed some stuff on our own. And Litmus is just by far our favorite tool for it. So what exactly is Litmus? So it's a framework for conducting chaos experiments, just individual little blurbs of bad things that can happen. So this is done in a declarative way via experimental templates. And experiments can be orchestrated into chaos scenarios, which can include things like chained experiments. You can run experiments in parallel and sequential. You can set up and tear down experiment resources, and you can even deploy entire environments as part of a chaos scenario. It's an extremely versatile platform. So Litmus was originally accepted in CNCF Sandbox in 2020 and actually just moved into incubation. So huge congratulations to them for that. That's a big step up, and we're really happy for them. So what kind of experiments are available right now? There's a fantastic library available at hub.litmuschaos.io. There's currently 58 on the shelf, minimal configuration required experiments. They're pretty much just drag and drop and hit go and receive chaos. They're available for a wide variety of cloud platforms, including things like Kubernetes, KubeAWS, Azure, VMware. If you use a major Kubernetes platform, there are compatible experiments waiting for you. So I'm going to hand things over to Braden now, and Braden's going to give us a live demo of setting up Litmus in one of our demonstration environments, configuring it and running some experiments and seeing what happens.
Yeah, so thanks, Seamus. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Which one is the one I want? This one. Cool. And hold on, I gotta find my mouse. There it is. All right, so kind of what we're going to run through real quick is we're going to kind of run through the Litmus kind of install directions. We're going to spin up a Litmus cluster. We're going to access the Chaos Central, their UI. We're going to run their default test cluster, and then we're going to connect it to one of our live apps and actually break some stuff. So the first thing we want to do is Litmus offers an install through kubectl or through an apply YAML or through Helm. I'm just going to use the Helm one. So the first thing you do is add Litmus Helm repo, and then make sure it added. Yep, it's in there somewhere. Yeah, I have a lot of repos. And then let's do an install command. So we're just going to install it with the base configs that come through Litmus. So this command is slightly different than the one they offer in the instructions. I'm kind of grouping a couple of steps together to basically create the namespace and upgrade it if it doesn't already exist. And apparently
no, could we have a bit more zoom on the terminal
we
so that we
can.
can see a bit better?
Give me 1 second.
Nice.
Is that what better? You
It's
want
a
more?
little bit better. Can we hit that one more time?
Yeah, a bit more.
There we go.
Hey, that's legible now.
Okay. So go back and forth. First one was just installing the repo, listing the repo, and then now we're running the upgrade command, except I forgot to actually add the repo. So let me do that real quick. chaos/litmus. Cool. So I'm using Lens as a kind of web UI to front our cluster. It's a little easier than trying to remember and type 5,000 kubectl commands. So as we see, it's kind of going through and applying it right now. So we'll wait a little bit for that to finish. I know it's early. I think we have any questions at the moment. Apparently I'm getting
there's a question from someone on, will this be recorded and be available? Yes, it will be. So it will be available in YouTube, in the CNCF YouTube, pretty much immediately after this live ends. So you can tune in to watch it there.
Why? No, don't stop. Why are you upgrading? Stop.
No. You have to update Outlook now. Update Outlook now. It doesn't matter about the presentation.
Apparently you close Outlook and now it wants to update. All right, so it looks like it's fully installed. The next step, when you deploy this out of the box, as you can see, if I go look at the server, and apparently now Alexa's going off. Yeah, so when you deploy it straight out of the box, if you look here, it just does node port cluster IPs. So there are instructions for installing it, either going through and editing a node port, creating a load balancer, or putting an ingress object on it. I'm not going to dive into that. I'm going to cheat. And Lens does a great thing where you can do an internal queue proxy and just proxy from the cluster to local. So that's what I'm going to do. Just to kind of get a straight login.
Much faster.
Yeah. Much faster, and I don't have to start messing with SSL certs or anything like that.
Admin Litmus, I think, right?
Yes, it is. If I can type this in right, let's see. Can you get to it? No, I don't want to add you to LastPass. I want to add you to Google, and we're not going to change the password for now. Cool. So just like that, we have it stood up. We have the intro UI. And now we're kind of ready to rock and roll. So a couple of things to kind of walk through here. Chaos delegates, you can see this one's pending. What we installed was just what they call the Chaos Center. It's the UI. It's kind of the command and control center. So it's the UI. You can specify scenarios. You can download from the hub, do analytical stuff. The actual real meat and the bread and butter of how this works is installing the self agent, which, okay, there we go. So what this is kind of think of it as a runner. So the idea being is that you can install different chaos delegates inside different clusters you own so that the UI doesn't have to be inside the where it's actually going to be. So that way we can do it when you first open up the UI and sign in for the first time. It actually installs the self agent for that cluster that you have it running on itself, which is what you see here. If we were to hop back into Lens, which is here, we can see that. Let me close this. We can see that there are 3 or 4 services. No, that's the one we just did that just installed. And this is all part of the Chaos operator. Some event subscribe buses that actually, this is all of that self-service agent that just installed in here. So let's actually break something. The first scenario we're going to run through is we are going to use their demo app. Their demo app is called Potato. It's actually a funny word on Mr. Potato Head. It's pretty funny. Yeah, so you have Mr. Potato here. Potato Head, sorry, my bad.
Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, so we're going to run through. We're going to leave this the same. Yeah, and so we have kind of the sequence of what's going to happen. Since this is their predefined template, it's going to actually install the Potato Head application. It's going to install the chaos experiment that we're going to run. This chaos experiment for this one is a cube kill. So it's a pod kill. As you can see right here, it deletes the pod. And then once that completes successfully, we are going to revert and uninstall the chaos container, as well as delete the application that we installed directly here. These workflows are customizable. It's all YAML based, so you can upload YAML. I believe they also have an API, so you can actually just apply directly rather than having to go through the UI steps. We'll circle back on what the weights do in a second. And so, yeah, so we kind of, within a couple of clicks, we have our first thing. We want to go ahead and schedule it now. It's just going to ask us to verify everything. It all looks good to me. So let's hit finish and let's go to the scenario. So now we see it's running. You can see the experiment. The main experiment is a pod delete. And yeah, so now it's just going to kind of sit here. And if we go back into Lens, you can see that Mr. Potato Head is actually, so it went through and it's spinning up a couple of containers. You got one for the head, hats, new arm, left leg, main body, right arm, right leg. I don't actually know what this does.
It's basically Hello World for Kubernetes. Essentially, it just has a whole bunch of containers that talk to each other and pop up a picture of Mr. Potato Head when you go to the front end.
Yeah, it's all looks like it does. Oh, really?
Yep.
We can go look at that. And actually, let's do that.
But it's really fun because like there was nothing you had to do. Like this was 100% set up by Chaos Hub. Like it was just drag and drop. We didn't deploy this. It's just a self-contained Kubernetes application that just spat itself into existence and is about to delete itself.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like, let's see. So if we go click onto here, we can see where we are. So we're in the middle of running the actual pod delete command. The one thing about chaos experiments, and I can see if I can find it in here. Oh, here he is. So every experiment kind of gets spun up as a job. And that job does whatever the experiment does. So as you can see, this is a pod delete. It has a target argument. That target argument is probably one of these mains that just deleted, probably this one. And so what this job will do, so you can see it terminated one pod and it's spinning up another now. So it's just kind of a little job that runs in there. They can be really complex, or they can be as simple as this one was, where it's, hey, we're going to delete a container and we're going to delete a pod and see if the pod comes up. As you can see, because of the way this app is designed, our Hello server is still available. Oh, no, it's not. I lied. Oh, never mind. Scratch that. I was proxying from the container that died. So as soon as it died, my proxy connection died. If we had put a load balancer around that, it would have been available. Yeah, so we're kind of just waiting for this guy to finish.
But setting up a load balancer involves work. I don't like to do that stuff.
Yeah. Something Bill Gates, lazy engineer, best test, something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but I have heard that.
I am 100% at times a lazy engineer. So the less work I have to do that I'm going to scrap later, the better.
Oh yeah, especially like volatile work that like is only going to exist for a brief moment and then just gets vaporized.
Yep. Yeah, so we're just going to kind of sit here and watch spinning circles. Anybody have any questions? I could try singing, but nobody wants to hear that.
I do. I'd pay money for that. Let's go.
No, we're not. Cool. All right, so it ran, and now we're doing cleanups. Woo-hoo. I know this is kind of the, the cheesy side, but does it help with declarative configurations?
Well, so this is actually what we're seeing here is the execution of declarative configuration. So this is we didn't configure anything. This is all just completely off the shelf. This is just default behavior that comes with the Chaos Center installation. But yeah, every individual step. This was yeah. Oh, there you go. There's the manifest.
So it does actually provide manifest files. You can go through and do a declarative manifest file and apply it directly like that. That will work. We're just doing it through the UI because I didn't write manifest files. Does it support? Yes. Sorry, I see your clarification there. And then Mark Cloud Arc. Yes, it does allow you to target destroy specific namespaces. We're actually about to do that.
Yeah, I thought that was a clean star. I thought it was does it support everything. I was going to be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, it does. All right, so we ran it. You can see the experiment. The experiment was a result. Everything passed. So let's do some stuff where it doesn't. The first thing I'm going to hook up, the other thing that this allows you to do is you can tie into a Prometheus data source. I'm hearing myself. Okay. That's going to throw me for a loop. So we have Prometheus installed in all of our clusters, if I can type correctly. Mainly because I'm also too lazy to spin up my own Prometheus, so I'm going to use the one that's right there. Do you have the option to enable authentication? Yes, you do. I just didn't do it.
It would be good to not allow just any arbitrary person on the internet to run chaos experiments on your production stuff.
Yeah. So they actually have. Let me show something real quick. Hold on. Okay. I don't know what it's doing. They actually have the ability inside the settings to go in user management. You can actually add users, do authentication with create new users, login details, username, passwords, and all that. You can actually, as part of the install directions as well, you can do OAuth authentication.
Yeah, so there was actually an extra to the question. So something like AWS customization, Google, Apple, and so on.
I believe so. You can do that with OAuth. I'm not 100% sure. We haven't set that up or gone in that far yet. But yes, I do believe it does support SSO OAuth. To actually also answer the other question about declarative, you can set it up for GitOps as well.
I think, did we answer Mark's first question about the targeting namespaces? You can. If we didn't answer that already, yeah, you can target specific namespaces.
Yeah, I answered that with we're about to do that.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yes. I think that's everything we're caught up on so far. Did I answer your question, Mark, about the OAuth and stuff, or about the authentication? I believe you can. Best answer I got is check the docs. I know there's a section in there. We haven't done it yet. I haven't personally done it yet, but I think so.
This is true, Jonathan. This is very true.
This is true. We're not going to play with production right now, though.
Well, why? It's so much more entertaining.
Because I don't want to get paged. That's the main reason. I don't want to get paged. All right, so we're actually gonna play with a pseudo production. So one of our demo apps that we have installed and has been on here for a while Bloop, 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 somewhere. Sock shop. Yeah, everyone's familiar with this, I think. If not, we're gonna walk through the UI real quick after I find my UI. So we work Sock Shop. It's another open source project. It's like one of the Microsoft or microservice demo sock or applications. I think it's the two big ones are We've Worked Sock Shop and Google's Boutique app. We like Sock Shop better. Do you two mind?
I just like socks.
Because socks are cool, and it has more. It has more applications and several different database layers in the backside too. But yeah, so
socks.
It's a fully functioning, basically marketplace store. So you can go in, buy socks. We can buy Seamus some more socks because
appreciate it, bud. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So it has like a full catalog. You can go see colorful socks, non-colorful socks, super softs, super sport socks. I can't read apparently.
I want some cat socks, please.
Okay, I'll buy you two.
All right, thanks.
You know, it has a full working cart. If we, safeties. Oh, we're missing shipping payment and order. Seamus, can I have your credit card so we can?
Yeah, absolutely. Just start with 404. Yeah, I don't remember the rest of it off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. But yeah. So it's a full app. So now that it's up, let's break this thing because breaking's fun. That's the wrong tab. All right. The other thing to note, we do have, if I switch to the right namespace, we do have a load generator on this site that's been running for like 15 days. We just kind of permanently keep it running. So there is load, and we're going to see some fun, cool things in the graph, hopefully. This is all Grafana Prometheus stack. So we'll see some fun stuff. What do we want to name this thing?
Sock breaker.
Yeah, let's call it sock breaker.
Break those socks.
The breaker of socks. So Game of Thrones fun little throw if anybody got that. So as you can see, there's a lot of different experiments. Actually, let me back this up. I'm doing things out of order. So Chaos Hub, he talked about it earlier. It is where Litmus stores all of their experiments they've written. So this is the free to fund scenario. We don't care about that right now. That's what we ran. So Chaos Experiments, they currently have 58. I believe you have the ability to add your own repository, and they have instructions for how you create your own scenarios.
Yep. I like to call it 58, but it's also 58 times infinity because they're all infinitely customizable. So
yeah. So they have a little bit of AWS SSM. They have some Azure stuff, some core DNS, some GCP stuff, some generic stuff. So we'll play with the generic and the generic pod stuff. If anybody has anything they actually want us to run, feel free to drop it in the chat. And if I see it, we'll run it. I'm going to stay away from
corruption.
Yeah, we'll do that one in a second. I'm going to stay away from the Cube AWS stuff because, like I said, I don't want to get paged. I don't know if I get paged for this cluster.
If you are, we should turn that off.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Back burner. And some open EBS stuff. So we're going to do network corruption to start with, and then we'll do some fun stuff if anybody has any suggestions or just wants to see anything. I keep hitting the wrong tab. All right, so let's go back and do that again. That's the button I want. We want to use the self agent because I haven't installed it. I haven't installed this instance on anything else. We'll choose an experiment. I think we call this thing sock breaker.
Breaker of socks.
I spell everything. It doesn't really matter. All right, so you wanted network corruption.
I love network corruption. That's betwork corruption.
I know. So where did my mouse go? I lost my mouse. There it is. Come back. It's trying to run away. Did it add it? Can it? Apparently, if
Thinking about it.
Thinking about it. Let's do it again. All right. Oh, I didn't click on it. I don't think. Done. There we go. All right. So we've added it. As you can see, it kind of defaults to app and Nginx. So let's edit it and let's change some stuff. Experiment name. I'm not going to mess with that. Default. So this is where you're asking, can you target stuff? The answer is yes. So there's two different ways to install Litmus out of the instructions. There's a I think there might not be a DNS poison. There's DNS spoof though, so that's kind of the same, but maybe not. It's close-ish. But there's two ways to install this. You can do it either through a cluster-wide or namespace-wide scoping. I did this cluster-wide so you can see all of our namespaces, but we're going to target Sock Shop. We're going to target an app, so it targets based on labels. And let's do the carts. That's fun.
Carts is a fun one.
We'll crash a DB next. This actually will end up taking out the network on the node itself. This is only a one node cluster, so actually it'll take out everything, and you'll see that. So it doesn't really matter for this one, doesn't really matter which one you target.
It makes the best crater in the graph, though, for Prometheus.
This is true. So you can add probes. What probes can do? I'm not going to go bother looking up what the endpoints for this is. But yeah, you can add a probe names. It does an HTTPS endpoint. You can do HTTP commands, gates, or prom. These are all commands you can do. You give a timeout period, retry period, and this will actually probe the endpoints of your application. And so this is where the waiting comes in. So this basically says, hey, is this thing up and is this thing healthy? And if the thing is up the entire time, you consider it successful. If it's not up and the probe fails, then the test is kind of considered failed, and you're not resilient. That's where, if we look at this next section, that's fine.
You have to hit next again.
I know, I'm going to go clean up the pod.
Yeah. You're going for the number weight thing, right? Yeah, this thing.
Yeah, so the weight thing. So basically, if I were to schedule like 5 or 6 different of these things, let's say I do a pod network corruption, I take out an AWS node, and by the way, this is running on EKS, so that's why I keep referring to AWS. Say I take out a node, and then I do a memory or CPU load test. I can weight the different tests accordingly to each of this on a 1 to 10 point system. So let's say I don't really care about network corruption, so I can rate it a 4. But if I were to go in and do our node kill, which is something that's highly more likely to happen, I can rate that a 10. It will actually hit the endpoints. It will test everything, and basically, if it succeeds and it doesn't go down at all, you get that percentage points calculated to the resilience score.
And this is part of some of the really cool stuff you can do as far as like CI/CD stuff. You can actually integrate Chaos Center with your GitOps so that every time you're updating things, if you make changes, you can actually run resiliency tests automatically to see, okay, numerically, like what is our score for what's our resiliency like? Like for instance, with Mr. Potato Head, when we ran that, we came back with the perfect score. Okay, what if it wasn't so perfect? What if we ran something, one of our chaos experiments did actually cause a service disruption? Like how bad was that service disruption? This allows us to tune that to a more high level that especially like management's really interested in seeing, because it's a simple, just integer value. Say the bigger the number, the happier we are.
Yeah, basically. So the chaos export flow won't actually remove itself. If you select all resources of the chaos itself when you run it, that thing I did at the end where I said, let's clean up. In this aspect, it is talking about cleaning up the network corruption pod that it is running. It's not talking about cleaning up the sock shop workflow that actually exists. The only reason it cleaned up the application, the potato one, is because it actually deployed that internally. So if it were to deploy it, you can then have a step to clean that workflow up. But since we're using a pre-existing workflow, the only thing it's going to clean up is the job that actually ran.
And I mean, like, if you really want to make life difficult on yourself, you totally can have it set up just to delete something that already existed when you ran the chaos experiment on it. Like, it has the flexibility to allow you to do that. I personally would prefer for it not to do that, but that is something you can configure if you want.
And I think I actually got a different aspect to your question too. And the aspects if we're doing like node kills and stuff. This is where it would probably be beneficial to run Chaos Center in the cluster you are not trying to test, for in the off chance of you do nuke the node that is actually running on and all that. That's where kind of the chaos delegates come into place, where it's only a small, tiny subset of pods, and hopefully your environment is running on more than just one AWS node where it can just get rescheduled. I haven't actually tried the instance of doing a node kill, mainly because I don't want to get paged. But I believe in that instance, it would kill the agent and the test would just fail, basically being like, hey, we lost contact with delegate.
And cross-cloud compatibility, which is hard for me to say for some reason, is a really big aspect of what makes Chaos Center so good. It just has stuff baked in to say, okay, I know that I'm running on EKS. I want to go do some bad stuff to Azure. No problem. Out of the box.
Yeah, those triple C's really throw you for a loop. It's going to think about life for a few minutes. Hopefully I didn't actually jinx myself and my node died. I don't think so. That would be really funny, actually, if that happened. Come on.
Is it doing stuff?
Maybe.
Wait, what was that? Was it pending at the top?
Pending what? No.
Oh, never mind.
I don't know what you're... Seriously? Failed to finish.
Hey, sad life.
All right, let's try finish again. Hey, now it works. I jinked myself talking about it. That's what happened.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
All right, so now it's running that experiment. It's installing the chaos experiment.
So you should be able to see this both in Lens and in Grafana here in a second.
Yeah, let me go to Lens real quick. So the one interesting thing to point is when you install Litmus and when you install the Cloud Delegate, the workflows will actually run. So you can see right here, the workflow is running. The workflow actually runs inside of the namespace that the Litmus Chaos Delegate's running. So it's not even running inside my sock shop namespace.
The Stockbreaker just popped up and disappeared.
Yeah, he's popping up and running some stuff. So if we go into here and go here, we can watch this for some cool stuff. Maybe. Hypothetically, we should see what's going on in the network stuff. So that was it thinking about itself. This is the last hour. Let's look at the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, let's tighten up the...
Yeah.
Yeah, it does take a second for CPU to start cratering too.
Yeah, well, that and Prometheus is on like a 30, 40-second delay. It's got
While we wait for that, can I ask a question?
Sure.
You're perfect. So how frequently do you use logs when troubleshooting?
Oh, constantly. That's the absolute constant thing for us, which is partially the reason why our software exists, why Zebrium exists in the first place. So we were trying to alleviate some of the just head-banging headache that goes into diagnosing root causes as issues occur. So we have a very powerful artificial intelligence engine that can actually help identify the root causes of your problems as they happen. Well, there we go. There we go. So yeah, the normal log volume we would have to look at for Sock Shop would be looking for a 5-minute range, probably about 2.5 million logs, lines of logs. And we do not have the time or interest to actually try to look through that many log lines to figure out what exactly went wrong in our environment. So with Zebrium, we can actually pick out only 30 to 50 log lines that are the actual relevant log lines. It's much more user-friendly, much more human-readable to present information like that. So if we, yeah. Can we scroll up to the CPU and RAMs? Yep, there we go.
Yeah, so all that drops slightly because all the network activity dropped, which since this thing's communicating to itself, it all plummets. Yeah, so we'll just wait for this to finish. An error occurred fetching data. Well, yeah, that actually makes sense. because I just took out the network interface of everything.
Yeah, considering what just happened.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20, something like that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I love it.
So once the interface comes back up, which it only took 60 seconds, so it should be fine. It should be coming up. We should just get in the lag of scraping.
Yep.
That's the fun thing about all the network ones is it kind of, especially if you're running on one node, it kind of just nukes everything.
But the nice thing is the blast radius is confined to the namespace, so we didn't like knock out the entire cluster or anything like
No,
that.
we knocked out the entire cluster.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Well, I stand corrected then.
Because it what the network corruption does is actually corrupts, I believe it removes the network interface for Docker on that container or on that node.
Oh wow.
But since this is a single node cluster, we knocked out networking for the entire cluster because there's only one node. If we had multiple nodes, it'd be a smaller blast radius. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I learned something new today.
That's actually partly causes the dip in all the graphs too, is because everything stops. As you can see here, network blow up. Yep.
I like seeing the sharp craters in the graphs.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that. I like seeing that when it's not production.
It's a bad day when somebody accidentally runs this on production. Which has never happened, thank God.
Knock on wood.
Yep.
Oh, look, we got a detection too.
Yeah, and so kind of to go full circle about this, this is full disclosure. This is like our widget that we have installed in Grafana. Kind of where we talked about at the beginning, we use this tool to kind of induce live alerts and stuff. So as you can see here, it grabbed carts DB, says, hey, the master pod was restarted and the kubelet restarted. I don't know if that's actually right. Seriously, you're gonna make me sign in now.
So I got the credentials for that if you need it.
Fine. I'm not really.
And then there's a new audience question as well. When we have a good
So yeah, I would say it's possible to bake that into a scenario. I would say that it's probably not. Let me say I don't know for sure, but I don't think that that's a feature that comes natively. I think
actually, yes and no. Let me go back and let me show you. Let me go back. Let me go to schedules. Hold on. Let me get back into the manifest of this. Save template. No, I actually want to go here into manifest. Everything's time bound. So inside of this massive chunk of script somewhere, there is that's the wait. Yeah, right here. Total chaos.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
So everything's time bound in seconds. So for that test, we ran it specifically for 60 seconds. There's also a flag you can set inside. Let's say you apply this with a YAML file directly. You can reapply that YAML file, and there's actually an environment variable you can set to disable the chaos test, and it'll stop it instantly. Through the UI as well, we can also stop the execution of a test if it actually breaks something hard as part of a glass break procedure. Yeah. From that aspect, everything's time bound. That would be the glass break as you kind of, it's like, there's a mixture between, I believe you can cancel a test inside of here as it runs as like a hard glass break stop. Or
you can just do that from kubectl if it actually gets really out of hand. You can.
In the scenario, he said he locked himself out of the target K8 cluster.
Right.
If you locked yourself out of the cluster, there's probably bigger issues there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But what kind of log lines do we get out of that detection, by the way?
Yeah, a bunch of errors. Creating workflows, MongoDB can connect. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the word cloud there on the left, we see that it was the carts thing. It went down. It's MongoDB. Yeah.
Not the best one we've gotten out of that, but it's still a pretty good one.
It's a lot better looking at millions of log lines.
Yeah. So that's our end-to-end use. I think the last one, I think Mark wanted to see us.
The DNS.
I have the DNS one, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, hey, this the new territory for us. Let's find out what happens.
We got 20 minutes to kill, so
yeah. I mean, honestly, this is one of the things I like so much about Chaos Center is I can just like sit in here and I can just play. Like, I've never done something so catastrophically bad that I've not been able to just hit a button to reset everything. But yeah, let's today might be the day. Let's find out.
I mean, worst case, we just blow it all away. I mean, it's a demo cluster anyway. So
yep.
Okay, I know I don't have any delegates selected. Will you?
So deep breaths.
There we go.
Hey.
It's a little buggy right now. I think most of that's due to me using a Q proxy and it being on a VPN, and the combination of the two is a little fun.
Yeah.
If I were to go through the work and actually set up a load balancer, if I wasn't lazy, go with that and actually set up an ingress object, add in the proper annotations for us to spin up an internal ALB for it. It would actually be a lot better. But like I said, I'm lazy.
It does work a lot better with an actual network. Who'd have thunk it?
I know. Let's see. Let's see the DNS ones. I'm curious. Core DNS, PUD DNS error.
Spoof. Yeah, I think that's the closest to poison.
Oh, you know what? As fun as that sounds, Mark, I don't think I'm going to do
that. Oh, man.
I mean, I might as well just do it, just hop into the node and just do an rm-r/.
I mean, I got a kettlebell. We could just throw that at the server.
Let's do some spoofing. I haven't done that one. Next. Let's target app. I do not want to target the default. I want to target Suckshop. And
you don't want to target Litmus?
You know what? It's too early for that.
It's like that thing with IDA Pro. How IDA Pro is like the most reverse engineered software of all time because everyone who downloads IDA Pro immediately uses IDA Pro to reverse engineer IDA Pro.
I didn't catch half what you just said. Cool.
IDA Pro, IDA Pro, IDA Pro.
Pretty much. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's schedule it now. Yeah. Finish. Go to scenario. So this should be fun because I have no idea what this is actually going to do. I guess I could have been like, oh, look, we can see our app.
Well, for now.
Yeah, for now. We'll see what breaks.
How's Gunny, buddy?
Angry. I don't know why. Can you lay down? Just throwing a tantrum.
Well, that's his specialty.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's GitOps integrations that I have messed around with. I would assume that there is something that we can do to interact with Slack. I honestly don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know either. And full disclosure, us moving to the V2 is this is definitely newer for us. We first grabbed on to Litmus V1. V2 is when they scanned and put the UI and the Chaos Center and everything in front of it. V1 was entirely server and API based. And so that's really what we were doing is actually crafting YAML manifest files and just doing kubectl applies with a series of files that added the RBAC process and all that. This is definitely much easier. And after diving into this a lot, it's on we both have tickets now to go look at, the full scale implementing this all the way through with the UI, because it just makes everyone's life easier. You can actually, we can have our sales engineers and stuff be able to go in and do on the fly chaos scheduling without having to know, hey, how do I attach to the cluster? Or without me having to get them access to apply stuff to a cluster. Limit the break factor and all that.
Turns out people actually really like GUIs. That's interesting innovation, man. Fresh out of the 70s.
Yeah, so I haven't honestly dove into that, so I can't really say that. I believe they have a Slack integration, but again, I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, using their GitOps flow, you can cobble something together to make Slack channel stuff happen. I just don't know what the logistics of that would look like. So looks like
Actually do anything. 'Cause it should have affected
well,
the internal DNS. So maybe. I don't know. Is it actually doing something? Let's go.
not entirely sure. I might need to check Prometheus.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's doing anything. I wonder.
So part of it, since we're not doing this on like an actual network, I wonder if that
No, I wonder if it's because it's looking for something that's not core DNS to actually go screw with. That would be my guess. It's looking for like QDNS or something. If I actually go and read the manifest, like I said, we haven't ever done it, so it's a cool thing to kind of see. Let me see if Prometheus says something interesting.
Yeah. Because
But
if we see network stuff in Prometheus, that would tell us. Well, there's a little bit of a shelf, but I don't know.
Sort of, but
Yeah.
there's no package drop. There's no read write drops. You want some, but yeah, it doesn't look like that actually target anything correctly. I probably could have set it up wrong too. So,
I mean, we could do something like pod delete or something like that, something a little bit more innocuous.
Yeah, that didn't do anything. All right, let's go do something a lot more fun. Let's actually break something.
Brave.
We gotta go out with a bang.
Fair enough. Let's see the fireworks.
Okay, maybe it actually did something.
Watch it turn out that experiment affected Chaos Center more than Sock Shop.
If anything, it affected my Q proxy more than anything. Note to self: don't be lazy next time you do this. No CPU hog, no train. Kubelet service kill. That one, maybe. No read start. You know what? Screw it.
Fair enough.
Let's terminate some tags.
Yeah, you might want node selector for that one.
No. There's only one node.
Oh yeah. Okay, fair enough.
EC2 instance ID. Give me 1 second.
And Mark is also asking, suppose I have isolated Kubernetes only for Chaos. What do you recommend for authentication and authorization from my Chaos cluster to connect to my Kubernetes target?
For my Chaos cluster to connect to my Kubernetes target. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that either.
Honestly, it depends on how you've backed your K8 stuff. On some of it. Like I said, if you're using EKS GCP stuff, obviously authentication and authorization is going to be some form of an RBAC role using, defaulting back to their IAMA management using a role or something like that. Internally, I don't really know. I don't have a good answer for that, really. Like I said, we haven't played super much with isolating them and actually sharding it out to different clusters yet. I'm sure I'm going to have that same question in about a week. I don't
maybe in a couple of hours, depending on what happens after this call.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's as bad as an answer as that is, it's the best answer I got.
Yeah, we've pretty much only messed around with like the default auth stuff.
Yeah. EC2. I promise I'm actually doing something.
Perfect. And there is about 10 minutes left in our time. So if any audience member has any questions, now is the time to start typing them away. Everyone ask those questions. Yeah.
Where is the instance ID? I saw something pop up. Oh, there we go. Here. Instance ID. Oop. Oh, wrong way. Where did that go? Okay, I lost my mouse now. Why is my mouse over? Okay. Seriously? Like, how do I get my mouse back?
I mean, I just saw it fly in front of Chaos Center. Did you?
Oh, it did? I
Yeah, there it is.
I don't know if this will work, but we'll try it. Next, finish, next. That should be the instance ID.
This is what we call yellow chaos testing.
Pretty much. Let's see if this thing actually makes the node. Oh, it's installing it still. Well, I guess the other thing we could do. So they actually, once you connect it to a dashboard, you can actually do something cool where you can set dashboard, and they actually have some built-in. See, the problem is I just said the node to delete, so I'm like in a rush to like beat the node.
They grab those metrics while they still exist.
Although they exist, they're persisted by a PVC, so that's just more. I still have access to them. There we go. Yeah, so you can kind of see here's pod metrics. It's limited use case. I think they're still building this out, but it's still kind of cool because you can see this actually needs a Prometheus scraper, which I didn't set up. There's a Prometheus scraper that'll dump all the chaos intervals into Prometheus as part of an exporter with a service monitor. It didn't play nice with our already previous Prometheus install. The directions they have kind of installs Prometheus itself, but you can hack through it to get it running. Did this thing actually kill the node, or the node's still up? Did it actually run? I might have done that wrong. We'll see. Oh, it failed.
Failed.
Shocker.
Yeah,
I bet it didn't have permissions. Able to get secret. Yep.
Yep.
It didn't have permissions. So to answer your question, you can permission bound it so it can't do stupid stuff like that. Kill itself. But yeah.
Honestly, I'm a little bit relieved, but
Yeah, me too.
CPU hog is a fun one.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, why don't we do like a CPU and a RAM hog like in parallel?
Let's just do okay. Seriously,
Because we haven't.
it's doing its thingy again.
Yeah, because we haven't demonstrated running like parallel chaos experiments.
Sure. We got 8 minutes to do it, so
That should be sufficient.
yeah, assuming my proxy holds up. There it goes.
I'm impressed at how well it's done so far today, honestly.
Yeah, part of me is also like, I should have taken the 5 minutes and gotten all the yield, the load balancer configs correct. New experiment. Let's add
Memory hog.
Yeah, we're not gonna pod memory hog.
Nice.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
We'll configure this one first. Target application, section, deployment. Let's do payment. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Hit finish. Yep, there you go. And then memory hog. Maybe?
Come on.
Man, it does not like memory hog. And try one of these other ones, maybe.
Yeah, proxy doesn't like it. That's weird. That's one. We can do this fill. I have to fix that later.
There we go. All right. So you see up at the top left where it says edit sequence?
Yeah.
Once you, yeah.
Once I change this,
Yep.
we can fill. Let's fill a database. Let's fill a
Ooh,
database.
that's a good one. Yep, that looks good.
Sequence, visualizing your sequence. Beep, 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 beep.
It should not look like this.
I know. It's my proxy's acting out. Or my VPN. It's one of the two.
Sad.
I don't want to hit refresh.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get this guy going. Oh.
One is context by saying it only works if you do not have namespace quotes defined memory and CPU hog.
Yeah. Going back to remember I said I was lazy? Yeah, I didn't set that up on this cluster. And my proxy died.
And also, this is getting closer to final call for questions. So if anyone is typing, push enter as soon as you can. We have a few minutes left.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me stop for. Let me try this one more time. Don't make me sign in. There we go. All right. Let's see.
Nice.
Let's see if we can speed run this.
Speedrun chaos.
Don't care. Add experiment. Oh,
Hey.
yeah. You're working now.
Hey.
It's amazing what happens when you reset your proxy. Let's do a disk fill.
Hey.
Sequence.
Hey. It actually does a thing.
Yep. I want this guy and this guy to all run at the same time.
Yep.
Save changes. All right. Let's go through and speed run this. Go here. I don't care. Finish. Next. Next. Steady user DB. Next. Finish. And let's do you as the carts DB. Function. And
Yep. There we go. Finish.
Next. Don't care. All right. Finish. All right.
Well, something insta failed, so that's
Nothing insta failed. That's
whoa.
the kill from earlier.
Yep. Ignore me.
I generally do.
That's probably healthy.
All right. Now we're fighting the clock. Let's see. Will it work?
Will it blend?
There's a hands-on left. That's good to know.
Yep. Yeah, I've also seen some really good demos. So Chaos Carnival is the annual conference specifically for Litmus. And there's some really good demos that came out of that.
Yeah, so Jonathan is recommending the hands-on lab for Litmus introduction inside the O'Reilly learning space.
We should open Prometheus and check this out. This should. Oh yeah, Prometheus is drags by a few seconds.
Yeah, that's not what I want. So that's running. So let's see. No, I want to switch to the sock shop. We can get rid of that. All right. Let's look at overview. Nothing's bouncing, so that's good. All right. Let's go to Prometheus.
Well, line's starting to go up a little bit.
Yeah, I forget which one I did of RAM and CPU one. So just randomly clicked a couple.
Acceptable.
And we are at the time. Great speed running in the end. Any final comments or notes to our audience?
Not off the top of my head. Yeah, so it looks like that one did the memory.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate the opportunity to come show us messing around a little bit with with what Litmus can do.
Yeah,
Perfect.
definitely.
Yeah, loved it. Particularly the speed running was very, very nice. Great to see that. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the latest episode of Cloud Native Live. It was great to have a really good session about using Litmus Chaos Engine and microservices demo app to demonstrate automated RCA. So we really also loved interaction and questions from the audience. And as always, we bring you the latest Cloud Native code every Wednesday. So next week, we will have a session on In the Cloud with Cloud Matas. So thanks for joining us today and see you next week.